Morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Common Ground. I'm Chris. That's Josh. Obviously, I'm America's favorite Republican. He's America's favorite Democrat. And we got another topic here for you today. We're going to jump right into, but what we're trying to do here is bring some unity to the country and get everyone to understand that down here at our level is what matters, and we can get along. We can find common ground, and that is our mission to get as many people to follow us as possible so we can start making good, educated decisions at our level. And that comes down to the voting process and our civic conversation in our country. We have to pay attention, all of us. That being
Yep.
said, Josh and I kind of have a long-standing agreement with one of the problems, and we're going to tell everybody how to fix it. Josh, do you want to let them know what the problem is, and then we'll talk about how to fix it?
Yeah. We've done an episode on this, kind of touching on it, but just the amount of members in Congress that are of advanced age, and the amount of people that are in Congress for 30, 20 years in a row, and refuse to step down. So this week in particular, I brought it up. Dianne Feinstein from California. She recently returned back after being gone for several months. She was fighting, I believe it was shingles that started, and it progressively went into some other things there, some other complications. But she recently returned. She had an interview, which I watched recently, and they were asking her about her absence. And she said, "What absence? I've been here the whole time." So that's a problem. And she's a Democrat, and I see that as a problem. That's a problem to me. We shouldn't have people so old in there that we're practically propping them up to be able to do their duties. So
Yeah, I
that's
was
what
I was appalled when I saw her finally come back after what was it, 3 months or something? I don't
yeah,
know, but
yeah.
but my first encounter with the news with that was them wheeling her into the Capitol building in a wheelchair. Um, and then you couple that with her not even knowing she was gone. Come on, folks, we can do better than this, and we have to. Uh, we all can have to, in my opinion, we have to agree on this. These people are a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
There are dinosaurs. I mean, the dinosaurs knitted all these people's clothes at this point. That's how old they are.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not just her. She's the focal point at the moment. But we all know Biden is look. He's old. I get it. He's just not all together. That's a natural thing at that age. People are going to argue it with Trump. I don't agree with that. I think he's pretty cognizant for an old dude. However, that doesn't make me feel like we should reelect him because of his age. I'm a staunch supporter of age limits, term limits, and get these people out and get new people in. And I think you're going to see a definite change in this country.
Yeah, and it's gonna. I mean, we've been very lucky so far that we haven't started to see these people just die in office, and there's consequences for that. I mean, currently Biden is the president. How many people know about Kamala Harris's policies or about what she would do, as president? I'd argue not that many. I mean, you saw her during the campaign trail, but it wasn't enough. So we'd have a radically new person in charge, and I don't believe we should even be, if it happens naturally, you
Right.
have a heart attack or whatever, that's fine. But at this age, the average lifespan in America is 70, 76, 77 for adult males. So they're above the average lifespan in America, and we keep voting them in,
And
and it's not helping anybody.
there's a level of this that's just a personal responsibility to
Yeah,
retire, stop running. And
yeah,
you folks that keep voting for these people, it's your choice. I respect everyone's choice. Do I agree with everyone? No. But here you are with Josh and I, completely different ideas, completely separate sides of the aisle. But we have a solution to the problem. You got to engage in who you're voting for. And part of that choice has unfortunately come down to their ages across the, the whole thing. I don't care which side you're on. Everybody says, "Oh, you're against old people." I'm not against old people at all. They just need to retire and go enjoy their lives. Period.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's and I was just telling Chris, but like we don't see many. I mean, anybody here working still, you don't see many 80-year-olds at your place of employment unless they happen to be the owner or the CEO, something like that. You don't see many 70-year olds in a place of employment. So it's not natural in normal common life to have these people still in the workforce. I don't know why we made it a thing to make it a normalized thing in Congress for presidents or
You
things
know,
like that. We should have younger people
we have so
come
many
in.
problems. We have the debt ceiling. We have inflation. We have green energy this and green energy that, and fossil fuel. All these problems we have, and this is yet another problem, but it's easily rectified. Vote and engage in what you're
Yeah,
voting for. I don't have to tell you. Josh doesn't have to tell you. Vote for what you think is the best choice. Unfortunately, in this country, we're
yeah,
degraded to a point where we're voting for the lesser of two evils, and that's unfortunate because out of the size of this country and the amount of people in it, there has got to be other people we can put front forward and have good choices.
yeah,
And why aren't we doing that? I don't know. I have no idea. But the old generation, in my opinion, is causing part of the decline of the country because they're stuck in stuff that they're thinking about that was going on in the 70s. I mean, Biden alone was, I think, got elected as a senator the year I was born. I'm 48
hmm
years old, and he was what at the time? 30 years old, whatever. I mean, but they're stuck back in this caveman time, and they're not progressing with the times. They can't, just like I can't as Gen X. I'm stuck in the 80s. Same difference.
yeah. And it's even worse because these people, once you're elected into Congress or as a representative, your life, you're no longer a normal person. So you have no idea what it's like to go wait in line at Walmart or go to the grocery store or any of these things that we do on a daily basis that's just normal to you. They don't really do these things anymore. They have assistants to do these. So since 1970s. I highly doubt that Joe Biden's actually been into a grocery store and bought his own things,
Yeah.
or had to deal with a healthcare bill or anything of these sorts that the average American has to deal with on an everyday basis. So
And that
it's
goes,
voting, but voting for people who also support term limits. I mean, it
yeah,
I
that's
understand
a
that you
big
guys are
one right
Congress
there. That is
members
a huge
and
one right
you
there.
want power, but yeah, we should have term limits for these people. We have most governors, I think all 50 states have term limits for their governors.
Yeah.
Um, there's no reason why not. I mean, it
But I
only
don't
makes
think you're
sense in
going to
my
see
mind.
it.
Like
I
I
don't think
don't
you're going to see
understand.
it because the upper elite politicians, which I would classify as mostly the swamp on both sides, they don't want to relinquish the power. They want to have that power to the day they die. And I disagree
Yeah,
because guess who really holds all the power in this country? We do. We the people. And we're letting them get
yeah,
away with this. We really are because there aren't enough people want to have a civil conversation like you and I are trying to do. We'll have our heated moments. We've had them in the past. But in the end, we always come around the other end and we try to say, what can we do better? So, what can we do better? Term limits,
yeah,
age limits to start. Let's start somewhere. Let's get something done.
yeah, yeah. That's a start. I mean, if somebody suggested, all right, you can't do more than 6 terms, that's better than what we have now. Even though I'd much rather it be a lot less,
Well,
but
we do it for the
it's a
president.
start.
We do it for the president of the
Right.
United States. Why do we
Exactly.
do this for presidents, governors, but we don't do it for our elected officials that just they move in and they never move out? Who's at
Yep.
fault there?
Yep.
Partly them, but partly us because we vote them in.
Yep. Yep. And
So
it is hard. The old guard. I mean, Mitch McConnell doesn't want to vote to not allow himself to run again. Dianne Feinstein,
no.
as you see, she doesn't even want to leave. So it's members on both sides, and that's the old guard. That's the ones that hold the power now, and they are not going to volunteer to give up their power. So that's what makes it so hard. But it also it should, you know, motivate you to go out there and be more involved and vote in for these people that support term limits
Yeah.
on both sides. I mean, I'm sure you'll find Republicans that support the same thing, and you'll find Democrats that support the same thing. So we need to get out there and really exercise our civic duty and do what we're supposed to do.
I want to just make one last point, and then I'm going to go. I'm exhausted today of government and debt ceilings, and I'm going to go build a fucking toilet out of Legos or something exciting. Um, but let me say this: I've been thinking a lot about this. You know, I'm a truck driver, I got a lot of time to think. I think a lot of times the argument at our level comes from uh, people think just because I'm a Republican that I subscribe to Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and everything Donald Trump said, which isn't really true. I think there's two levels of being a Republican. There's the us Republicans, and then there's the them Republicans. I don't subscribe to a lot of things my party says because I don't think a lot of things my party says is good for our country. I think the Democrats say a lot more that isn't good for the country, but that's a debate that's always going to rage. But I can assure people that just because I'm a Republican doesn't mean that I don't have issues with these people, and I don't bow down to their altar. I bow down to my altar of what I think is best for the country, what's best for my household. And I think Josh does the same thing. And you know what? There's no problem with that. Everyone should do that. And we can have disagreements, but we can do it civilly. And we can move forward even with disagreements, period. And we do it every day.
That's exactly correct. And yeah. This should be the only altar that anyone's bowing down to.
Right.
This is our country. This is what unites us. At the end of the day, this is what we're fighting for.
Yeah.
So you should not be beholden to any one politician or any one party. It should be about this flag, about what it represents, and about what it means to you. So ultimately, I mean, I think we can do that as Americans. I think we've gotten away from that a little bit in the past couple of years. But we have to, for the sake of this country, for you, for me, for everybody here. We have to get forward. We have to move forward, and we have to come up with
Eh,
solutions to these. It seems like very simple problems. Honestly,
It,
it's not hard.
you know, it does. We're complicating shit that doesn't need to be complicated, and we really hold all the power. I think people have lost sight of that. Dianne Feinstein and Mitch McConnell and even up to the president of the United States, whoever that is, whatever political affiliation are, they are public servants. They work for us. And that's the fact, folks. And we put them there, and we need to
Yep.
take them out when they need to be taken out. And you know, you got another interesting dynamic here with Josh and I. Josh is a bit younger than me. He comes from a slightly different generation. I come from a different background. He comes from a different background. But we old folks and the young folks, we all need to somewhat find some common ground and get together as well. Because just because you're young and you're coming up with a more progressive mindset doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to me. Because I've already been there for some things. You're going to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
there, and
We
we
need both
should
sides.
be able to have civil conversations, Republican, Democrat, left, right, up, down, inside out, young, old, and we will take this country back. We will take it back. I promise people, if we get people to pay attention to Josh and I's conversations, we can do that throughout this country. There is no question in my mind.
That's exactly right. That's a great point that Chris made. With that, I mean, I think we covered everything. I think you guys know where we stand. We kind of just wanted to touch on this. Like I said, we've touched on it before. It'll probably come up again. Some old politician will make news again, and we'll have to cover it again. But we just think it's important. And both of us agree, that it shouldn't be the way we have it now.
Come watch us, America. We promise you that we're gonna. We've got things planned, but we have to get traction. We have to get some motivation to get to these things we have planned, and we really, truly, both genuinely want good things for our country. So come with us. Like, subscribe, share. Tell everyone you love to watch us. Tell everyone you watch us. I don't care if you tell an alien. Go tell somebody. Subscribe to us. Watch us.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all I
Yep.
got,
Come
brother.
join
I
us
think we got a little
next
bit on
week,
our
and
chest
we'll
today.
have some fresh content there.
Yeah, a little educational. What would we
Yeah.
do? And I think we agree on what we would do. How shocking is that? Democrat and
Yep.
Republican agree on how do we fix some of this stuff, but it can be done, right? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do some
Yes,
other
sir.
stuff, man, and I'm just gonna stay away from politics today and try to enjoy my day. And I encourage everyone else to do the same thing. See you all next week.
Yep. Yep. You guys have a good night. Thank you for joining.